Hello, and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton King. We're doing a thing we said we'd never do. We'll never do those. So we're doing them. Because someone mentioned it actually, I thought, it's quite...
Why not?
I thought it'd be quite easy. I'm not sure it is, actually. Interesting. Guns N' Roses. Gunner. The Portuguese police are called the GNR, so that's them. Appetite for Destruction, it's their first album. They did an EP before this, but we'll actually do that EP next, actually, as it happens, so, you know. And it's really struck me though how this is... It's a different world to what we normally do. This is one of those ones where it's something different, which surprised me. I didn't really quite realise. I thought it was a sort of generic thing, and to us it isn't, anyway. That's what we did Aussie at the start of the 80s, didn't we? So that's a thing, and then this is sort of the outcome, or the good outcome. You know, it has great songs, it has great melodies, meticulous, shiny, expensive production. Ironically, because it comes across as fun and light and lots of energy and it sounds very natural, even though it wasn't really recorded like that. It is of its time, and it wasn't a good time. But somehow it rises above the tedium of that time because of the songs and the melodies. Good songs.
It's a funny one for me, this, because Guns N' Roses was like, it was the first bit of rock I really sort of got into. And it was sort of my attempt at joining normal society. Guns N' Roses.
That's what people do. I better do that. Yeah.
They were quite popular at the time, and I decided, rock. Let's get into rock. Who am I going to do? And I went for Guns N' Roses, and it did take a little bit of effort actually. Mm-hmm. I think it's because of Axl's voice.
Yeah,
it's just rubbish. Although everyone says it's great. I just can't. He's channeling his inner angry, drunk Scotsman.
If you don't teach your meat,
belching into the microphone, and you're sort of like getting past that. I think it's quite difficult.
Yeah, it's very polarising, love or hate type voice, and it. And I don't think his voice is as crap as... It's easy to think, he's just got a crap voice, isn't it? He's just going... and I don't think it is. I always used to think it wasn't. Famously, live he'd do one good show and then just destroy his voice and then the rest of the story would be crap. I don't think that's what it is. I think that the sound of his voice, the style of his singing gives an impression of bad technique. So I suspect that the inconsistent singing is just because he was partying and being a wally and doing whatever he was doing and not looking after his voice. The reason for that is you remember when they all announced, he's going to do AC/DC because what's his name couldn't sing anymore or whatever, and everyone was like, "What? It's going to suck." Why they don't get someone famous? Get someone who can sing, And he was really good. He's really good at singing AC/DC songs. So I think actually he does have a very good voice. It's just an acquired taste, and it's not to my taste. Strangely, just by chance, this was accidentally put on Coverdale page this week, and I was struck. There's definitely a similarity there with David Coverdale. It's definitely that kind of thing, this sort of screechy thing, and it allows them to go very high. Coverdale can go even higher with his stuff. It's not something I would choose. I like the clear voice and the European style. If we're talking about straight rock, that would be Dio, because he has a clean voice, and he's very good diction, rather than just being American and that kind of stuff. That's one of the key things of the sound of it, obviously, and it's probably what everyone will talk about first, I assume. The other big thing is Slash, who's so important. Slash changed the course of popular guitar. I don't think he's completely gets his due for that. I don't think. In 1987, I'm going to play rock guitar. Well, you're going to sound like Van Halen, don't you? Except, guitar shop, guitar lessons, Van Halen sounding boring. And that's what everyone has to sound like, because they're all doing guitar lessons and that's how they teach you how to play. It's really boring. And, Slash proved that you can have dirty fingernails and just whack the guitar and it sounds ace. And it sounds better than all those horrible bands from the late 80s, poodle rock stuff. And that's key to it lifting it out of poodle rock, which is actually, I think, in a sense what it is. Well, I think we'll talk about that next. That's what people talk about, those two things, the voice and the guitar. But actually, what isn't talked about and what I noticed that's different about this album than Use Your Illusion, it's the drumming. He's not a technically good drummer. I think maybe it became a problem when he was on drugs and stuff, and that was the problem. But he's got a swagger, and it's not really a swing. He's just very inaccurate drummer, but he's obviously got a lot of enthusiasm, and that powers along the songs in an exciting way that stops it sounding like Poison or whatever. I think.
I mean, you listen to this, it doesn't strike you as going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, and
Guns N' Roses were massive, and they were pushed, and these were the last mega big sort of rock group, and from this album you would not guess that from it, because it is sort of very rough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, well, and in fact, it's an illusion because it's meticulously produced. He recorded one line of vocals at a time. It doesn't sound like that at all. It sounds like they've just pressed record in a room, and it's all fun and party, and But yeah, it doesn't sound like it sounds like, oh, it's a fun rock album. It doesn't sound like this is going to be millions, and it was very quick. Obviously they'd done club tours and whatever before that, but as soon as that album was around, they just exploded. 87.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was, I think Welcome to the Jungle was the first single, then Sweet Child of Mine was the second single, then the album really started selling, and they re-released Welcome to the Jungle. And then, when it was huge, I think there was another single of Paradise City, I think. And the riff from Paradise City is stolen from Zero the Hero by Black Sabbath from 1983. It's the same riff.
Repackaged.
Yep.
So is it actually any good though, Kev? That's the question.
Yeah, I think so. But the problem is, because of the time, the focus, what's a band, what are they like? Well, I need to see a picture of them, show me a picture of them, oh, that's what they're like. I'm sure that conversation would have genuinely been happening in the 80s,
Yeah.
The music was only part of their whole thing, and it would a lot of it about image and clothes, and oh, they're so dangerous because they go out drinking and stuff. And
every other song, probably more than that, is about drugs.
Yeah.
On this album. And there was something there was so much that didn't really, although I liked them, I didn't really get, and I didn't particularly like you see the live performances. Axl Rose, every song was a costume change or some bullshit like that, and the clothes you wear was a bit strange.
Yeah,
it was sort of
you can like the music, and the image of them as people isn't something likeable. Like you think, oh god, they're idiots, aren't they?
Duff.
Duff is funny, but they're just good songs. None of that matters now. It's what does it sound like, and it sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound pretty good actually. Interesting, sort of going back to it, because I haven't listened to this for a long time. It just every practically every song's quite iconic. It is sort of maybe that's because I listened to it an awful lot.
No, you're right. There are a lot of iconic songs on this. Let's go through. I mean, obviously, Welcome to the Jungle. It's So Easy, fairly big. Nightrain I quite like, but it's not that famous. Don't know about that one. Mr. Brownstone is alright. Paradise City is a huge song, very famous song. My Michelle as well. Think About You is fairly well known. Sweet Child of Mine, honestly. You're Crazy, again, kind of like It's So Easy and it's a bit famous. Anything Goes, can't really remember. Rocket Queen, that's fairly famous as well. So that's a high hit rate of how many songs are famous, big famous songs, that have probably been on Guitar Hero.
At a time when it wasn't really, that's not what music albums are about.
Yeah.
They're about putting a couple of good tracks on and a lot of filler.
Yeah. Stylistically, it's a lot like Aerosmith. It's very much that kind of thing. I think they've just got better songs.
Yeah, I never really got into Aerosmith.
Yeah, I find them very, very boring.
Love in an Elevator.
Yeah. And this was the time of their return, because they kind of failed and had a proper overproduced 80s-ness MTV return, just like Whitesnake, almost at the same time as Whitesnake, I think.
It's interesting that there's the perception of Guns N' Roses is that they succeeded where other American rock bands failed, where they couldn't really match sort of they didn't get to the same level as the great British
Stones
sort of rock bands.
Yeah, Stones and Zeppelin. All that.
Whereas Guns N' Roses were seen as a bit of a breakthrough.
Yeah, and they were another one of those bands. That's how people saw them. Yeah. I think the cover's very funny. I think you can maybe believe that kids at the time were thinking, yeah, they've got skulls, man, that's really cool. Which is really funny. It's their faces, but they're skulls.
Was this the time when there was a big thing about satanic worship in America?
I think all through the 80s, that was the event, because it was the big televangelist time. That's one of the things they would go for, obviously. I don't think they went for games until a little bit later. So it was still music at this point, Aussie and whatever. And obviously they feed on that, and it helps sell the records and all that, doesn't it? Gives this illusion that this very commercial, well-produced music is dangerous. They're so dangerous. This is weird. This is in the US, obviously. It was number 1 in the US. It replaced Hysteria by Def Leppard and was succeeded by Bon Jovi. So isn't that interesting that all that stuff there, that's what was number 1 at that time in a row. I think now the image is that it's a Rose / band, which isn't entirely fair, and perhaps that annoyed Axl Rose. Maybe that was part of their falling out, was that Slash got too much credit for writing stuff, but maybe he didn't. And actually, some of the songs are written solo by other members. So, Think About You is an Izzy Stradlin song, and It's So Easy is a Duff song. He actually wrote that.
He's quite switched on now, isn't he, Duff?
Yeah, he got off the drugs and all that.
Yeah, a financial advisor to the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they're sort of like, well, I wouldn't say the shining light, but you know, this period of time I consider as the sort of like the graveyard of rock, and these were the guys that were supposed to save it, really.
Yeah,
and they didn't.
They blew it in a sense, in that they got there. It was there, and it would
they couldn't cope with it, could they?
They couldn't cope with this. I mean, that seems that's that's what happened to Michael Jackson as well, doesn't it? You know, that level of fame later on is so awful because there's no escape. Whereas the Beatles in the 60s, they could hide without all the technology and everything, but it became mass media and all that. And if you're that famous, it just gets awful. I mean, I think Izzy he just left. He just couldn't take it anymore because it was just all the madness of the live shows and all that, and people throwing bottles and things as well.
Yeah, and I think Axl Rose was a bit difficult to work with.
Yeah, and I was just saying actually, wasn't it, that it surprised me how many of the songs I know how to play on the guitar. It doesn't go away. You put it on and you can remember. It's very straightforward, obviously, but it's really cool. Yeah. You just whack it and bang it out. Eggs.
It's a difficult one.
I think it's 4 eggs. Nothing that sums it up.
That doesn't bode well for the future reviews.
Mm.
Oh gosh, it does feel bad giving something that was such a big part of growing up 4 eggs, but it is a 4-egg album.
Yeah, which
unfortunately.
Is a good
yeah.
Mm.
As you can probably tell, this is post Christmas.
Mm.
We didn't wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Yeah, hootenanny. Happy New Year.
I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, it's all a bit grim now, isn't it? Never mind.
Back to the grindstone. Should we say something about our Pink Floyd reviews?
Yes, that they're still going and people are watching them. Thanks for watching them. I hope you like them.
Yeah, we had a fantastic response to our Pink Floyd reviews, sometimes sad. Obviously we wanted to issue them in one big thing that you could buy all at once, so you could pick your way through them, but YouTube wouldn't let us do that.
Yeah, so we had to charge 99 cents each.
So we had to, put them on individually, but I think, a lot of people, we're surprised by how many people have actually taken the plunge.
There haven't been that much negative responses. I think there was one, is this some kind of joke? And the answer is, well, probably.
kind of.
we kind of agree. What would you pay for that? But yeah, brilliant, so thanks very much for that. We really hope you enjoy them, because it took a long time, because we were doing these videos, and then afterwards we would do the Pink Floyd and we'd get like sort of a third of the way through the video.
Yeah.
That's why you notice sometimes the location changes through the video.
Yeah. We have considered, the money raised from it, buying a professional microphone.
Mm. Yeah.
But I don't think we really need one, do you?
I don't know. I mean, but I'm very much not an audiophile. Just if you can hear it, you can hear it. And I suspect people around the world will struggle more with our accents and our bad diction than anything else, really, rather than sound quality.
But we have started a few plans for future things, which are going to be a long way off.
Mm.
And, it's not.
Yeah, we're thinking what we can do next.
We're not sort of looking to do this on a regular basis.
No. Yeah.
just want to, make bigger and better videos.
Yeah. And we will.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see you next week for lies. It's all lies, isn't it? Lies.